It was the year 1622, a cold and violent storm night near the coast of Florida. Far across the raging Atlantic waters, a massive Spanish treasure ship was desperately trying to return home to Spain. Its name was the Nuestra Señora de Atocha, and inside that ship was one of the greatest fortunes ever carried across the ocean. Gold bars, silver bars, rare jewels, and treasure worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But that night, the sea had other plans. Music intensifies. As the ship entered the dangerous Florida Straits, a terrifying hurricane suddenly struck. Waves crashed like mountains. The giant masts of the ship snapped apart. The steering rudder was ripped away by the violent currents. Sailors screamed into the darkness as the ocean swallowed the ship whole. Within moments, the Atocha disappeared beneath the sea, and with it, an unimaginable treasure vanished into the deep. Deep suspense music. In today's money, the lost treasure was worth nearly $500 million. But after the ship sank, its exact location became a mystery that would remain unsolved for more than 300 years. Transition music. The Atocha had sunk near the coral reefs of the Florida Keys, a chain of small islands stretching across the ocean. At first, people roughly knew where the ship had gone down, but only weeks later, another hurricane struck the area. This second storm shattered the wreck into pieces, scattering the remains across the ocean floor. The ship's location was lost forever. Or so people thought. Mysterious music. Yet one thing was never lost: the treasure records. Historical documents revealed exactly what the ship had been carrying. More than 150 gold bars, over 1,000 silver bars, and dozens of treasure chests filled with unimaginable wealth. For centuries, hunters searched for it. Some spent their entire lives chasing the legend. Others even lost their lives in the attempt. But nobody could find the Atocha, until one man decided he would never give up. Music slowly builds. His name was Mel Fisher, an American treasure hunter obsessed with lost shipwrecks. Mel Fisher had spent years teaching people how to dive. Alongside his wife, he operated a diving school in California, training over 60,000 divers. But when he heard the legend of the Atocha treasure, everything changed. Mel and his family moved to Florida and began the hunt. Ocean exploration sound design. At first, they had very little equipment, just a small boat, metal detectors, and endless determination. They searched an area called Matacumbe Keys, scanning mile after mile of empty ocean. After one entire year and over 100,000 miles of searching, they found nothing. Pause. Many believed the mission was impossible. The Atlantic Ocean was simply too vast. But then, Mel discovered something important: a secret weapon. Historic tone music. A historian named Eugene Lyon traveled to Spanish archives in search of answers. Inside ancient records in Seville, he discovered a forgotten document. It described a recovery mission conducted only 4 years after the shipwreck, and the location mentioned in that document was more than 100 miles away from where Mel had been searching. Everything changed. Music rise. Mel immediately moved his operation to the new location near the Marquesas Keys. But now they faced a new problem: deep water. The ocean floor was so cloudy and dark that divers could barely see their own hands. So Mel invented a brilliant solution. He attached 2 giant tubes to his boat, sending clean surface water down toward the ocean floor. This system cleared away mud and sand, revealing hidden objects buried beneath the seabed. It was like opening a window into history. Discovery music begins. Then, finally, in 1971, a diver discovered a massive anchor buried under the sand. It wasn't treasure, but it was the first real clue. Soon after, more artifacts appeared.
ancient cups, swords, cannonballs, iron nails from the ship itself. The team began mapping every single discovery, carefully marking each location. Slowly, a mysterious pattern began to form, a line across the ocean floor. Mel believed the treasure had to be somewhere along that line. Tension builds. But years passed, and still no treasure appeared. Money was running out. If they failed soon, the entire operation would collapse. Then, in 1983, everything changed again. The team discovered silver coins and 3 enormous silver bars worth over $100,000. But one question remained. Did they really belong to the Atocha? Investigation music. The team returned to historical cargo records. Every gold and silver item carried aboard the ship had been carefully documented with serial numbers and exact weights. When they compared the numbers, they matched perfectly. The treasure was real. They had finally found the Atocha. Music hopeful but dramatic. Mel's team cleaned the coins using electrolysis and sold some of them to fund the expedition. The hunt continued. New technology was brought in. More discoveries followed. Even bronze cannons were recovered, with the Atocha's markings still visible after centuries underwater. But tragedy struck. One of the team's boats capsized during the operation. 3 crew members died, including Mel Fisher's own son. Slow, emotional music. Most people would have quit, but Mel refused to stop, because he believed the greatest treasure still remained hidden. He often spoke about a mysterious document written by a survivor of the shipwreck. According to that document, someone aboard the Atocha was secretly transporting over 70 pounds of Colombian emeralds. That meant the treasure was even greater than anyone imagined. Epic suspense music begins. After years of legal battles, Mel finally won full rights to the treasure against the state of Florida. But by then, he had already spent over $6 million. Still, he kept searching. And then, in 1985, after 16 long years, the impossible finally happened. Massive cinematic music hit. Their sonar scanner detected a huge object beneath the ocean floor. Divers rushed into the water, and there, about 100 yards away, lay the remains of the Atocha, an 80-foot section of the shipwreck covered in gold bars, silver coins, and treasure chests. The legendary lost treasure had finally been found. Music emotional and grand. Among the wreckage, divers discovered rare emeralds the size of fingers. One alone was worth more than $800,000, another over $100,000. In total, more than 2,000 untouched emeralds were recovered from the sea. The ocean had hidden unimaginable wealth for over 3 centuries. Final reflective tone. After 16 years of sacrifice, loss, and relentless determination, Mel Fisher and his team achieved what many believed was impossible. They uncovered one of the greatest treasures in human history, a treasure swallowed by the Atlantic Ocean and hidden beneath the darkness for hundreds of years. Ending music slowly fades in, and perhaps somewhere deep beneath the waves, even today, there are still lost ships, forgotten secrets, and treasures waiting to be discovered. Outro. If you enjoyed this documentary, leave a like and subscribe for more untold mysteries from history, because the ocean never gives up its secrets easily. Music fade out.